Welcome, everybody. And I'm just going to put this out as a little prequel before the entire show begins. I'm going to be dropping a mock later today. So if you guys love mock drafts, come check that out. Otherwise, let's kick into the video. See you later. What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And of course, Marcus dropped a mock, so we got to mock the mock it. So if Marcus is watching, welcome, as well as welcome to all of you who are new to the channel and old. But if you guys are new, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. You like the draft, which is why you're here. I do it all the time, so feel free to join the community. Links down in the description. But Marcus is a guy who I would consider him a pretty damn good contributor to this community. I know he says here that he has not fully evaled anybody except for Chris Olave yet. So we're going to take it a little bit easy on him. We're here to give our feedback. We're not here to be a douche. We're not here to be someone kissing the rear side. We're here to help Marcus out because it's been kind of my thing to be fully watching college football and preparing for this NFL draft while he has been doing an excellent job doing stuff like studs and duds. So shout out to Marcus. Of course, you guys have definitely all subbed to him by now, but if you haven't, go to him, especially in the off season when he starts talking about the draft and stuff. He's a very intelligent guy. Hopefully that we can do a video in the future. So Marcus, let's get back on that. But let's kick it off, starting off with the number 1 pick. We got Aidan Hutchinson here. Yeah, I mean, this is an older draft order. Again, this is not updated from last weekend. I don't really have much to say. The same thing. We already know 1 and 2 is going to be KT as well as Aidan Hutchinson. And then number 3, you guys see it down there, Evan Neal. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to give you a spoiler. For not being fully up to date on college football, this is a pretty damn good mock. There's some other stuff, like there's a trade that's coming up very soon that is something that I heavily disagree with. However, I mean, if I heavily disagree with maybe 2 up to 5 picks, that's usually a damn good mock. So especially given how he has not been fully in draft mode, big tip of the cap to him. For Jets going Derek Stingley, I think it's Kyle Hamilton there, but again, you cannot complain about one of these unique guys who can like be in a different class going at number 4. I mean, you just take the guy who is special, and Derek Stingley has the potential to be. Number 5, there's Kyle Hamilton. They do have they're notorious for having a shit ton of safeties on their roster, and Kyle Hamilton can play anywhere you would ever want. This might just be a rich get richer scheme. And, Kyle Hamilton is an absolute beast being on this defense that honestly, even on paper, they don't need it. They could definitely use it. So this is not a point of the draft to get exactly what you need, exactly what you're looking for. This is more of a spot to be focusing on what you should be getting, and that is value, not need. But of course, it's best when you can combine both of those. Kyle Hamilton's a beast, so I'm fine with that pick. Kenny Pickett's next. I literally had it in the title of my last one. Kenny Pickett remains a Panther. Love it. And Marcus, spelling error. But I mean, all good. Next is Ike Ekwonu. Make this pick myself. I think tackle is the most valuable position. He puts him as an interior offensive lineman. I think as Marcus continues to watch the tape, he'll realize that the value actually looks pretty damn good as a tackle. Now, will he be able to step in day 1 as that? Maybe not. However, I think that, on the right side. However, if let's just say Andrew Thomas is like, you know what, I'll test out the right side. I think I'm comfortable there. This could be a home run pick. This guy could be a franchise left tackle, Feldman freaks list type of player, ridiculous strength. Ike Ekwonu, love it. So this is the pick I was talking about. Trade up with the Steelers for Carson Strong. Just a heads up to Marcus, Carson Strong, if I'm not mistaken, has had 3 knee repairs, and one of them just being a cartilage clear out. It's 3 knee surgeries it's a pretty big red flag. And Carson Strong is a big fan of the community this year. He just hasn't taken that step up this year to really validate a first-round pick, especially in my opinion. So obviously people can disagree. I just don't think the NFL is nearly as high on Carson, given injury issues as well as lack of progression, compared to guys. You could even talk about Matt Corral here, or obviously we already seen Kenny Pickett go off the board. Sam Howell, the poor guy hasn't even had anybody, right? So I think there's other guys there that could be certainly worth it. I don't think the Steelers need to trade up for one in that case, because that's going to be a costly trade. And the Steelers need a hell of a lot more than just a quarterback at this point. Unfortunately, as a Steelers fan, I have to confirm. So that's going to be that pick right there. Let's look at pick number 9. That's Karlaftis. So that's very interesting. I assume you're going to use him on the interior at that point at just about 280, 285. Big ass dude. If he is able to shed some weight, he very well could have a very similar play style to Aidan Hutchinson. I love Karlaftis. He has excellent technique, and he's one of those difference makers. You watch the tape and he's somebody who pops off. So I do like Karlaftis. He's able to stay healthy this year. That is a big plus to me. Next is David Ojabo. Again, don't cut. Like, if y'all want to come at Marcus for the draft order, don't do it, because honestly, this is an outdated draft order, but who cares? We're looking at the mock itself. David Ojabo is the pick here. I think that is, if it's not going to be a quarterback, that is a phenomenal pick. Honestly, it might be one of my favorites that I've seen. Chargers and Broncos both are excellent fits for David Ojabo, who right now, if he were to be drafted right now, not focusing on projecting where he could be, he's my edge 7. And having him play for such a short period of time and having him be so raw, that is an excellent sign for what's to come. Still going to be my edge 4, but it's a very tight race between him, Myjai Sanders, Arnold Ebiketie, and Jermaine Johnson, who, I have a big love affair with Jermaine Johnson. So that's just me. We got the number 11 pick, Tyler Linderbaum. Of course, I go to like the 1 second after it clicks off. Beautiful pick. I love it. You can use him at guard if you want to. I just think his value is so damn good. And you look at the value of center after him, the drop off is probably the biggest I've ever seen in a class, period. So at any position, by the way, it's just, that is how big the drop is. He's an outstanding player. I love him to death. The Saints, who I believe are trading up here, took Desmond Ritter. I mean, sure, I'm not going to disagree. I think quarterback's an excellent choice to go with. People will have their rankings, and it will vary exponentially, just because, again, everybody's going to have their own thought process when it comes to it. For me, I think Malik Willis is a lot better than Des, but then again, Desmond's probably going to be a lot better year 1, year 2 on a team that could probably use a guy year 1, year 2. So, you know what? It's not a bad choice, because, again, I'm not, like, no disrespect to my boy Broshmo, I don't hate Desmond Ritter. I don't have him as a late 2. I have him as like my 35th, 34th guy. But yeah, it's an interesting pick to think about, certainly. And especially a trade up. It's hard to think that the value of these quarterbacks is anywhere close to what the picks you're giving up, right? With Marcus Davenport, obviously thinking of a Saints monster trade, which was it was a ridiculous trade at the time. You were getting somebody who was a toolsy beast, a raw athletic monster with everything that you're looking for to develop under Cam Jordan. And he's starting to pay off right now. He's looking really good. But I don't think Desmond Ritter has that. So if you're looking to do a Marcus Davenport type of thing, then I would recommend going after Malik Willis. I just don't think Des has the requisite talent to elevate himself above the rest. Next, we got Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. I'm seeing this a lot to the Eagles, and I don't know if I love it, but I sure as hell don't hate it. I definitely think wide receivers should be the way they go. I would personally go after a guy like Garrett Wilson, but again, that's me having a big love affair for Garrett Wilson. I'm going to admit my bias where it is. I love Garrett Wilson. He's my by far wide receiver 1. Treylon Burks, if he tests out crazy, is going to be great. I mean, I've loved him since the beginning of the season. You guys can check me on that all the way back. I have all those videos up. I have pretty much I'm 100% guaranteed to get clapped back if I straight up BS somebody, because you have video evidence of me saying other stuff or audio, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Andrew Booth's next. Yeah, it's an athletic corner. You got 2 athletes, hyper athletes, and it's far from a bad selection. Definitely a need. A guy who can work with Darius Slay and be an absolute monster. He's probably going to go before guys like Sauce, even though Sauce is allowed, wait for it, a 0.0 passer rating in single coverage. I don't know what's up with people's hate for Sauce. Not talking about Marcus, but just in general. You guys can look at Twitter to see all my BS rants. But again, link in the description. but this is a great pick overall. I think it's excellent value and an excellent position of need. So Jordan Davis is next. I'm just not a huge fan of Jordan Davis. He is 22 for the people saying he's 26. That was a former tight end. He just doesn't look like he has the drive to attract the Raiders. He doesn't have the mentality that I would ever search for in a defensive lineman or in a player in general. I don't like it when I watch tape and I see him walking on the field. I don't like it when I see him engage with a guard, which again, this Marcus has no idea about this. Sorry, Marcus, that was a terrible freeze frame for you, but he hasn't dove into the tape yet. He hasn't seen all that. So I can't blame him at all. This is an excellent fit without seeing how lazy Jordan Davis looks on the field. And that's something the Raiders do not tolerate. They love hard workers. And Jordan, I mean, well, we can talk about Jamarcus Russell, but we're just going to leave it right there. Chris Olave is next. So I wanted to listen to this one because I didn't really fully understand it. He's talking about perfecting the trifecta of Ohio State wide receivers here for Washington. And, personally, I wouldn't go that way. I think that the threat of Scherf leaving, he says the quarterback value to him is not good enough. So, of course, looking at it from his perspective, it's understandable why you'd go a different position. I'm just worried about Brandon Scherf potentially leaving, Charles Leno gone, as well as Cornelius Lucas probably leaving after one more year. There's a lot of potential for a big shift up in the offensive line. And when you have guys like Kenyon Green on the board, Trevor Penning, even though Trevor Penning, this would be a bit high, but again, if he tests out very well, we all know what those testing numbers do to people's evaluations. It kind of, if you test very well, you get some hype. But this is probably the second one that I disagree with. Again, I wouldn't be mad at it. I would just be like, don't do my boy Diami like that. Diami Brown has some potential to be able to start someday. And that kind of just gives him the middle finger to just get the hell out of there. Next, Kenyon Green to the Chargers. I love it. He talked about how there's a need on the right side of the line. I 100% agree, and I would do it every single time if I could. Garrett Wilson to the Browns. Wait a second. I would also do this pick. I also do it. So not repping the Browns. This is Pepperdine. But yeah, I mean, it's a great fit. I love it. I love it so much. The good old Vikings going with Roger McCreary. So obviously he's getting a lot of hype. I think he might go before guys like Kai or Elam, but I don't think that I'd ever take him before Sauce Gardner. I think Roger McCreary might test out a little bit faster, but apart from that, Sauce Gardner is just, I think it's a better fit. Again, I'm going to trust a guy who's a Packers fan to be able to totally dissect what the Vikings would be looking for over a guy like me, where it's my job to look at the draft. And then I was once a Bears fan, so I know a little bit, but I am far from as in depth with the defensive strategy as a guy like Marcus here. So I personally would go elsewhere, but again, I may be the one in the wrong there, not Marcus. Charles Cross to the Dolphins. Excellent steal. Like, guys, you guys know that. I say it's going to be Icky, Cross, Evan Neal and Linderbaum as the guys who I draft along with. Maybe you could go, maybe even Garrett Wilson, and then Devin Lloyd as the guys who I draft besides, I guess those are the only positions I would probably draft for the team. But yeah, those are the only positions I'd draft, and otherwise I'd be probably trying to move down. Regardless, excellent pick. Bottom line, excellent pick. Trent McDuffie going to the Bills. I'm not a huge fan of Trent McDuffie. However, he's certainly probably going to be taken in the first, and it's not somebody who I'd be shying away from taking in the first. I think that he'd be a great fit on this team. And again, I just think that guys like Sauce Gardner are going to get a little bit more hype. Again, Marcus isn't studying the analytics like we are. So that's where we just got to bring up that fact. 0.0 coverage grade. Ridiculous. So yeah, we are going on to DeMarvin Leal here. Yeah, I mean, he's to the Ravens. The Ravens know how to get the steals. That they know what they're doing. Next, Devin Lloyd, another great pick. Marcus is hitting it out of the ballpark for not being one of us regular mockers. So again, cheers to Marcus. Another pick I made. Jameson Williams to the Lions. I love it. Even though Khalif Raymond's like your deep threat guy, I sure as hell would not let Khalif Raymond stop me from taking I almost said Javonte Williams, Jameson Williams. Sauce goes to the Bengals. I mean, that's the biggest dream pick besides Tyler Linderbaum I could imagine. Daxton Hill, I'll continue pushing back on this. He's a slot corner that also can play safety. It's more of a slot safety role, and I don't think that's what the Cowboys are looking for. I think they're more searching for somebody to be like a Jaquan Brisker or Jordan Battle. And then Daxton Hill, I really think Anthony Brown presence there kind of dictates that. But Daxton Hill is an excellent player. If they do that, I wouldn't mind them moving off Anthony Brown for a guy like Daxton Hill to be in the slot. I'll just put that there, but that's where I wouldn't be too comfy with that pick. George Pickens going to the Titans, over a guy like Drake London is really interesting to me. Again, Marcus is not someone who's studying these guys day in, day out like we are. Pickens, he has true number one receiver potential, but I think a guy like Drake London's going to go a little bit before him. And then Georgre, I don't even know who he is, but I assume it's George Pickens, is just, I can't see him on the Titans. I think they want a little bit more separation skill for a guy of that size and better after the catch, because George Pickens is excellent in contested catch situations, but I mean, you just can't beat Drake London. Zion Johnson's next. Again, when you have a 37-year-old Justin Pugh as your left guard, I 100% support going after it. I have other guys who are better, who are like, I have higher than Zion, not by much, Tyler Smith, but that is also my personal opinion. That is one of my draft crushes. So I sure as hell am not going to complain about Zion Johnson going here at this point. Then you got Drake London out of USC going to the Patriots. I would see them probably trying to go after a different style receiver, but again, I think I would never, ever complain about taking Drake London to a team that's receiver needy. Then Kyrie Elam staying in Florida. I think this happened on the Goat House mock, which of course I mocked that one as well. Again, it's not actually mocking the mock. It's just called that because we give feedback. But Kyrie Elam staying in Florida, love it. I mean, if he's there, you better take him. All right. That's just bottom line. Got Jahan Dotson here. I don't like the fit. I know the Chiefs might do it, but I think I'd rather go after a larger receiver, or at this point, given how damn good the pass rushing squad is and the tools that you have available, I'd go with that. I think it's a lot better value, and going after a guy like David Bell round 2 is probably a little bit better. If not, Jalen Tolbert in round 2 might be your big reach. Chiefs fans, of course, leave your opinions down below about that one. And last but not least, John Metchie. Just for my guy Marcus, it is a John Metchie tore his ACL. So there's probably a very low chance that he gets picked even in the second round at this point. He's progressed a lot this year. I started him out as a third, and he moved up to a second for me. I thought he did a very good job. And then tearing your ACL, that drops you back down to a third, right? Because we haven't even seen him past the ACL tear. So unfortunately, even the people who love Metchie, I don't think would put him in the first round. I like how the Packers are going receiver, but that is, I just think that understanding Metchie's injury problems probably tipped the scales a little bit. So that is going to be the video, Marcus. I hope you heard, and I hope you are not offended by what I say, because again, this is all constructive criticism here. We're all trying to make ourselves better in this community. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you tomorrow.